Welcome to the Movie Vault. I'm Ben.
And I'm Zach.
And today, we are interrupting our Seven Deadly Sins arc for breaking news, which is that Paul Thomas Anderson has released a new movie called One Battle After Another. Probably, would you say it was both of our most anticipated movie of the year?
That's a great question. I don't know.
You don't know?
Mine might have been Anemone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Daniel Day-Lewis.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but either way, it was one of our most anticipated movies of the year, and probably one of most people who are film buffs' most anticipated movies of the year, as Paul Thomas Anderson has made a career out of making expansive, interesting, sometimes more small-scale movies that are over broad swaths of times, but they're usually character pieces that really search to understand the human experience. From Boogie Nights to Magnolia to There Will Be Blood to more recently Phantom Thread, Paul Thomas Anderson has a knack for working with great talents and getting the best out of them, and also writing very interesting screenplays. He came up in the rise of independent cinema with Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
He made Fiona Apple quit cocaine because of how annoying he was back in the day.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And if you don't know who Fiona Apple is, then that's another rabbit hole. But she's actually a very talented singer who used to be in a relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson. But these days, he's a bit more reflective. He's a bit more mature, and he attempted to make maybe his most ambitious movie since Boogie Nights, or maybe since Magnolia, or maybe since There Will Be Blood. I don't know. It depends on how you're measuring ambition. And it's his first time tackling a movie in a modern time period since Punch Drunk Love. So he's kind of done a lot of historic pieces or things at least older than the current time frame. I know Inherent Vice and Licorice Pizza were more in that 60s, 70s window, which is one of his sweet spots.
Yeah.
But he's trying to take on today's issues with One Battle After Another.
Yeah, somewhat. Not extremely clearly or as bold as a lot of people think, is my opinion.
Or wanted, as we were reading some of the Google
reviews. Or wanted, I think.
What were your initial thoughts after the credits rolled in One Battle After Another?
When the credits rolled, I immediately thought, I need to think about this for a few days. Yeah. And I've had, a week now? We watched this a week ago or something, a week and a half. So my initial thoughts were that. I guess post few days, it's probably, I enjoyed many elements of this film, and you'll see that in our rating in a second, but I think there were a few pieces that I did not like in this film, which is why it's not a perfect film, because I think if the themes were all on point and honestly in some parts the pacing was a little bit better, I think it would have been top tier film, because this is very much a PTA film where it's there's so much effort and work put into every single scene. It's not I don't know, it seems more cinematic than a lot of his other films. Maybe that's what you meant by ambition earlier. So I appreciated that, and I saw the value in the crazy level of filmmaking in almost every scene in this film. I just think if it were cut a little bit, because it was a long film, they could cut a little bit. It might have been a little bit higher for me.
Maybe trim the fat some. Yeah, this is, I think, the longest. He's made several long movies.
Magnolia is longer, right? It's 3 hours.
Magnolia is a little over 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think There Will Be Blood is 2 hours and 40 minutes or so. But this is definitely seems like a return to his early days with the ensemble. And then he's also going back to the well with Thomas Pynchon doing Inherent Vice. I guess this is, according to most people, a much more loose adaptation. He tried to do a modernized version of Thomas Pynchon's Vineland. I'm not familiar with the book, but from what people have said, it's set in Reagan era, and it's a lot of 1960s hippie revolutionaries reflecting back on their more revolutionary period of their life during the Reagan era. So maybe something that I would like to check out in the future. But my initial reaction was, I'm not sure if it was exactly what I was expecting, but it was definitely a spectacle, and I was very entertained. So I was happy with that. In some ways, it was funnier than I expected, but I always expect Paul Thomas Anderson movies to be at least a little bit funny. Besides the few that are a little bit more set in a serious mode, like Phantom Thread. But he always has kind of had a 25% to 30% piece of comedy in a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
But I think I agree with you. I felt like there was a lot of ideas, and not all of them were tied together perfectly, and sometimes the pacing was a little erratic. And I'm also just very hesitant of any movie that people are automatically hailing as the movie of the century.
Well, we braced for that before even watching it. So
before, like, you even had 2 weeks to reflect on it, because a lot of times in order to make that claim, I feel like you really need to see how the film settles in the landscape. And I've done this with particularly with music. I can think of a few albums where there's a lot of hype build up for them, and then the initial reviews are like insane. I remember one of the 1975's albums was called A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, and people were calling it like the next OK Computer, which was a big album from the 90s. Keep in mind, OK Computer was not hailed as the greatest album on its initial release. It took time for people to realize how good that album was, and this one was. And then I gave it a couple months, and I realized this album is actually not that good. And I'm not saying that'll happen with one battle after another. I'm just saying anytime critics and the general population of people together are heralding something as the best ever immediately or even before it's released, it is good to go in with maybe another level of criticism or just be aware of that. It could live up to it, but very rarely do we know right away whether a film lives up to that or not. Because we like you said, it's not really fair to judge this film based off of one watch and your initial reaction right after.
Yeah.
And we know that sometimes, as you have more time to think about things, you can have more positive or negative reactions to a movie or a piece of art.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Before we get into it too far, we're going to have you guys rate it. But first, our question of the day.
Okay.
If you guys could assist any director, dead or alive, in making a movie, so the whole process, you're right there holding their hand from first writing of the script to actually producing it, which director and why?
That's difficult. That's very difficult.
I have an initial answer. I think I would go with Martin Scorsese, because I want to see the obsessive nature and the attention to detail that he has, and I just feel like he would be a really entertaining guy to watch through the whole process, arguing with people. I remember reading those interviews where Paul Schrader was like, he's so stubborn and you can't tell him that he's wrong. And he insists on things, and sometimes those things really end up working, even when people thought they didn't. So I think that would be an entertaining guy to go through the whole filmmaking process with.
I'm thinking about Terrence Malick, but then I was like, he might not have any deadlines that he's going to follow.
He might be he would be interesting, but for much different reasons.
Yeah, and I think that would take too long, because he takes so long for his films.
You'd be sitting with him for 20 years.
Yeah. So probably Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
for his final film. That'd be wonderful. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's have your guys' rating. I'm going to count down. Say your 1 through 5. 3, 2, 1.
4.
So 4 stars. I think
out of 5.
There's 2 films in Paul Thomas Anderson's filmography that I've given perfect 5, and that is There Will Be Blood and Punch Drunk Love, and then Magnolia and Boogie Nights and Phantom Thread, and I'm trying to remember the other ones are 4.5s. and then there might be like 1 3.5 in there. Like Inherent Vice might have been 3.5, I think, or maybe 4. I mean, Inherent Vice is a very good movie. It's not one of my favorite of his. Hard 8, a good debut. The Master also 4.5. So lots of 4.5. So this falls below at probably 5 or 6 of his movies in my mind, and is right there in that next range. It's really solid. There's lots of very memorable performances, but I just don't think it quite has the impact or has the focus that some of those other movies did. Again, performances were really good, especially Sean Penn, Leonardo DiCaprio, Chase Infinity, Teyana Taylor, all really good, but I don't know that any of them are on the level of Philip Seymour Hoffman in The Master, or Joaquin Phoenix in The Master, or Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love, and I'm serious about that, and or Philip Seymour Hoffman in There Will Be Blood, and maybe it's not There Will Be Blood, in Punch Drunk Love, and then of course Daniel Day-Lewis's performances in his movies, whether it be There Will Be Blood or Phantom Thread. Now, it's not really fair. We're like asking these people to live up to 2 of the greatest actors in their generation, with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah. But I don't know. There's just something that wasn't quite on the level of those movies.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on in this film too, so it's kind of hard to have such a great performance when there's like so much plot and like character. There's a lot of different characters on ensemble, like you said. I don't know. I thought it was a little bit harder for someone like Regina King or Leonardo DiCaprio to kind of shine in an ensemble cast in this film than it was for like Tom Cruise in Magnolia, because it's like in Magnolia it was clearly set apart. Like, okay, you have this segment and it ends here, and then you go to this story.
Yeah, you very clearly remember each character's moment in their segment, yep. And it feels like they were all given kind of like equal opportunities to shine. Mm-hmm. Whereas this movie is much more focused on the story, I guess, the narrative.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it still is a loose narrative film. It's not. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it does have like a relatively straightforward like kidnapping, recovery kind of storyline, but I mean, from like if you look at the whole thing, there's a lot of like loose kind of vignettes throughout the movie that aren't as straightforward as maybe a lot of people are used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that can be a little bit to the detriment of being able to see the characters shine, or the actors shine. Maybe not the characters, but the actors.
Yeah, you're right. And you're right about the loose narrative too, but I mean, kind of at the end, I was thinking the gist of this movie is like, man, kind of be a rebel in some ways, you know, like for some right causes. They're saying like the movie kind of hints like you should do it for some right causes, and people's definitions of those right causes are very widely dispersed throughout culture right now. But it's at the end, it's like, yeah, my daughter's a rebel. Go out, don't have too much fun, you know. It's like the very thing he was trying to avoid the consequences of. He's allowing his daughter to rack up those consequences. So I think I'm not exactly fully sure if there's much meaning, you know, beyond that. I know it's set in today's political climate, even though it's 16 years ago in setting.
But it distinctly like muddies the water in terms of like what you're supposed to think about any of these people. I mean, it kind of sets the villains up as villains, like Stephen Lockjaw being in the military and then sort of in a secretive part of the military that is abusing its power pretty obviously, and then also trying to join this secret club, which of course this leads a little bit into the conspiracy. That's a Pynchon thing, but it's also just a generally in culture thing. People kind of imagine these decisions being made by groups like Skull and Bones out of Yale, and this is kind of a comedic take, sinister but comedic take on that with the Christmas Adventurers Club.
Yeah.
Hail Saint Nick.
Yes. Yeah. It's such a crazy, but I mean, it is supposed to be like outlandish because I mean, it's showing like, yeah, we do have some of these things in
like
in
this
the world.
Definitely could be happening, but we're gonna show it in a way that's hopefully exaggerated. I think they're kind of hoping it's an exaggerated form of what it really is.
Am I getting you sick? I'm sorry.
No, I've been sick since I watched this movie.
Really?
This movie made me sick. Yeah.
Well, 4 stars makes you sick. I have this blanket. That's what I've been wearing.
That's
for my
what's
sickness.
helped.
Yeah.
It's a real for the people who are watching the podcast and listening. It makes it tough when the hosts are sick, but it just shows our commitment that we would never give up. The plot of this movie is basically there. To sum it up as briefly as I can, there's a character named Perfidia Beverly Hills, played by Teyana Taylor, who's a member of a far left group of terrorists called the French 75. Ghetto Pat Calhoun, also known as the Rocket Man, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, joins the group, and then gets in a relationship with Perfidia. Perfidia also is entangled in a sexual relationship with her enemy, Stephen J. Lockjaw, who's a commanding officer of a border associated, immigration associated part of the military that's potentially has to do with narcotics, but clearly has more to do with immigration than that. Perfidia becomes pregnant, presumably with Pat's child, and she is quickly not enamored with the married with children life, and sort of is actually jealous of her child, and then gets into a bank robbery that goes south, shoots someone, and is arrested. Lockjaw arranges for her to be in the witness protection program if she gives up the names, which she does, so she becomes a rat. Perfidia escapes Stephen's custody despite his wooing of her with flowers. I guess in some ways this sexual relationship has gone back and forth in terms of who has the power in the relationship, but at this point, Lockjaw has the upper hand, and Perfidia escapes and flees into Mexico. Pat becomes Bob, and his daughter becomes Willa, and they live off the grid in Backton Cross, California. Unfortunately for them, Stephen Lockjaw starts to need to get rid of Willa, who ends up actually being his daughter because of his relationship with Perfidia. And because of his need to join this far-right, white supremacist elite group of people that's loosely people in government, people who have a lot of power, people who have a lot of money, and somehow they believe he will benefit their group, probably because of his connection with the military and immigration. They describe their group as it's just helpful to, break the web of bureaucracy, but clearly it's more than that for them. Bob is paranoid, and Willa is frustrated with his paranoia, but his paranoia ends up being warranted as Lockjaw invades a school dance at Backton Cross. She escapes with Regina King's character's help, but she brought a cell phone. Big no-no. This also leads Bob to being in an erratic, marijuana-fueled nightmare where he's trying to escape and also get reconnected with his daughter. This leads him to Sergio, who's Benicio del Toro's character, and in the whole back world of the sanctuary city where Sergio is helping protect people who are presumably illegal immigrants who have been in this town for a while, hold many positions of employment, and are known members of the city, but also in danger of people like Lockjaw coming and taking them away. Lots of chaos ensues. Willa goes to a convent, but Lockjaw finds her. There's a showdown where they meet. She realizes it's her father, Stephen Lockjaw, and Bob is not her father. She escapes after nearly being killed by this group of, I guess, people who are just hired murderers, basically. And this leads to an intense car chase sequence with this guy from the the Christmas group, who I don't even know if he knows why he's chasing her. Or
Well, no,
she
he's just doing what they say.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get rid of him. It'll be clean, He'll say,
Yeah.
he says.
And he had also shot Lockjaw, presumably killed him because he shot him in the face. But then Bob comes along in his Honda. So there's a three person car chase, great scene, and there's a big showdown at the end, and Willa wins. So and that's that. And then you're right, it kind of becomes this like, yep, go join the protest. I trust you now. Coming of age story with Bob and Willa, and Willa's like, and there's some sentimental moments where Willa's like, Bob's my real dad, even if he's not my real dad. Like, this is the guy who is actually my dad. That's heartfelt. So there's a little bit of that coming of age story, and also there's a little bit of a comedic, ironic ending for Lockjaw, who is invited into the Christmas Adventurers Club only to be gassed. Even though he survived with like a deformed face and all of that. And he has an argument as to his relationship with Perfidia and why it doesn't matter to his membership, but clearly it still does for them. That pretty much sum it up.
Yeah.
It's a tough movie to summarize.
Yeah, well, in some parts it's a tough movie to watch. It's a pretty violent film.
Way more action-packed and violent than any Paul Thomas Anderson film to this point.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, there's a few action-filled points in Boogie Nights and a couple other movies.
A couple bowling pins hit on each other and there will be blood.
But generally his movies are way more dramatic than they are action-packed.
Yeah. Yeah. I always thought, like, why did Lockjaw come back just to be killed again, like 5 minutes later, by the Christmas Adventurers Club? I thought, is that like more fitting to he got what he wanted and he can die? And because I mean, like either way, I feel like there's like a lesson in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe to show like he did all of this work to gain acceptance from a group that never was going to accept him.
That's so sad, but not really, because he was a terrible guy.
Yeah. So all of this evil and bad things that he did for this to gain ambition in this group was all stupid. It was meaningless at the end of the day, and it didn't change the outcome of his life. And there's probably something to be said about he's like, in terms of what the filmmakers would say or what other people would say, they would say like he is ignoring who he truly is and trying to be someone he's not and all of that. So if that's what you want to learn out of it, but yeah, he's a terrible guy, and he's very selfish, I guess, to put it lightly. And there's a lot of selfish people in this movie, but some of the selfish people seem to care about others more than other selfish people.
Yeah.
Because you could say Perfidia Beverly Hills is also a very selfish person, and that's probably how they become entangled. I think there's a bit of attraction in seeing that the other person kind of is like, they put themselves as the number one person.
Yeah.
Ever. I mean, Perfidia does. She says it. And anytime anyone she weaponizes feminism and her revolutionary ideas for her own gain a lot in this movie, which is why, and she struggles anytime she has to put herself as second. Like having a kid is a situation where you have to put the child's interests and needs above yours, otherwise they'll die. And she still is like, why is this person taking what is rightfully mine, basically?
Yeah. It's not about the cause for her. It's really about the adrenaline rush, it seems.
The adrenaline rush. I think she likes to pick the aspects of her cause that suit her in the moment the best. And then she kind of takes advantage of the people who actually do believe in the cause, because she's such this like just enigmatic figure that they can like herald as like their leader.
And then she rats them out.
Yeah. Because these people are people who on their own probably wouldn't be in the French 75. I think they need a figure like this to like assemble them and to inspire them to violence. I don't think they're like naturally people who are like they feel like their cause is so justified that they need to use violence.
Was Bob only in there because of her?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think he had the skills and all of that, but I don't think he would have used them in this way had he not been sort of like attracted, brought in by this like revolutionary figure. I think there's always usually a figure.
Yeah.
And there is this aspect, as much as people don't want to say this. I mean, now you can buy, Che Guevara shirts at Target and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't done a lot of research, but I'm guessing you'd find a lot of similarities in him as you would in Presidio Beverly Hills, where it's like this real figure who people are drawn to, and he calls people to violence for his political cause. But then if you look at their own decisions and their own life and their motivations, you might find a lot more selfishness than you would realize.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can think of that with lots, not just him, but lots of other revolutionary figures throughout history.
Oh yeah.
They're not always opposing. The idea of the opposition is not necessarily wrong, or they might have some like reasons why they're doing things, but a lot of times it's a lot more complicated than people want to morally assign. Even though this movie ends up kind of coming out on being a pro-revolutionary,
Somewhat.
or pro something of the like. Maybe I don't know what it's trying to say exactly.
Yeah, and that's kind of where it wasn't a 5-star for me. It's where it like.
And like is trying to make a strong point, but also doesn't want to make too strong of a point.
And you could read in between the lines and say like, oh, it's saying fight against these structures in American society that are, led by these white supremacists, led by these ultra secret groups, or fight against, illegal immigration. It's stuff like that. Like we could read between the lines and say that, but overall, like by the end of the film, with all the things that they're rebelling against, because it's not just illegal immigration. They're saying like be a violent rebel in some ways. But then the part that confuses me is like, okay, if that's the message, that's the message. But the movie shows a lot of the consequences of going against, governmental powers and stuff. And like shows a lot of regret in the characters. And maybe like Bob's regret throughout this film is not supposed to be seen as a moral thing.
Because Bob is basically like, yeah, me and your mom did a lot of bad things back.
Yeah.
But they did. I mean, the thing is, like, the people some of the consequences of their actions were not the people that they were rebelling against, but they were just like bank employees. And, they weren't, their stealing wasn't actually like harmless exactly. So it goes to show that if you're going to have this strong viewpoint and feel like you need to violently rebel against something, you have to live with, the consequences of that. And someone like Bob, that's what I was saying, it feels like he got pulled. He was just kind of a weaker person who felt like he was being pulled into something bigger than him, and maybe this like gave him more of a sense of purpose and meaning. And really, it did end up doing the opposite. He feels like he has even less of a sense of purpose and meaning after all of this has happened.
Yeah.
He says he's fried his brain, and now he's just paranoid. It's a good concern. He wants to protect his daughter now because of these consequences, but that's like his main concern, other than going and getting drunk with his friends and smoking marijuana. So this is like a wake-up call for him a little bit, in that his life has not lived up to the goals and aspirations he had earlier.
Not only that, but also like it affects your children. A lot of these actions that you do, like even if they're for what you would consider to be a good cause, like it has effects on the people you love and the people around you. So it's like you can be like, even if like, let's just say like you are going to free slaves. Let's just do a really extreme example. And you're going out there and you put yourself on the line to where you're a target by the national government of who owns the slaves, and you're freeing them and you're doing good work. And all of a sudden, your family gets targeted too. That's kind of on you as well. Like you're doing a good thing, but you have a family. Like when you become a target, your family automatically becomes a target. And that's like, to be honest, that's the plot of like so many movies. Like, I will find you and I will kill you.
Or like, I know you don't care about dying, but what about this person that you love?
You have a daughter, don't you? Yeah.
So basically, it's saying if you want to be a revolutionary, or not revolutionary, or stand for something.
You
gotta
clear your throat. Your body. That's killing me.
It's killing me, Smalls. You gotta.
Do you need some Gatorade?
Maybe I do.
Here.
You gotta all your family has to have already died, and you can't get married. and then they'll have nothing to hold against you, and you can do whatever.
I mean, all three of us are married now, so none of us can be in that role.
This is
now.
our way of standing for anything is the movie vault.
Yeah.
So
when the government makes controversial decisions, people come here.
And I'm way more morally ambiguous on here than
than in real life.
In real life,
that's not exactly true.
It's not exactly true, but I might deliver my opinions more softly.
You are the most like midline friend that I have. You know what I mean?
I don't like to show my cards.
No, it's not even that you're hiding anything. It's like you're just like you try to like you have like a tendency to go towards the balanced.
Yeah, I do.
You know,
I do. Maybe I'm a Paul Thomas Anderson in that way.
Maybe that would be good if it translates to your movie making skills. So when we make our movie that we wrote the script of, that'd be wonderful. Where does this rank in Paul Thomas Anderson films?
I need to look at his whole filmography here.
I think for me, it's probably only because every time Paul Thomas Anderson makes a film, it has less of a good chance to be near the top. I think because of that and just how good he is at almost all of his films, it's in like maybe the middle or bottom third.
That's what I would say too. I haven't watched Licorice Pizza yet, so I've only seen 9. But I would consider it to be that one's better, that one's better, that one's better. These 5 are better.
Which 5? Phantom Thread, The Master,
Phantom Thread.
There Will
So
Be
there's
Blood,
6.
Punch Drunk Love.
I'm looking at 6 that are better than this one. And I'm guessing I will like this better than Licorice Pizza. I like it better than Inherent Vice. I like it better than Heart 8. But I think Phantom Thread would be 5th for me. I don't think it's better than Phantom Thread. Phantom Thread is really good.
No, I'm not going to lie, it's not even close to Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
But mainly because of Daniel Day-Lewis. He just elevates it.
Yeah, and it's so hard because they're not even close to being the same movie. Like, Phantom Thread is much more focused and has 2 really phenomenal acting performances from Daniel Day-Lewis and Vicky Krieps. And it's about a dressmaker, and this movie is about, it's like completely wildly different. But I do think, like, I in terms of how interesting it is, like, I love Inherent Vice. I just think this movie is more compelling of a story than Inherent Vice was. And I think it's a great movie, and I love... Yeah, I read Crying a Lot 49. I was talking to Tressel about this by Thomas Pynchon, and I think he's a really interesting novelist, but his movies or his books are like very in the weeds, and they tend to like feel like they're saying a lot and nothing at all at the same time, which can be, for someone like me, I tend to like that a little bit more than some people, but
you like ambiguity.
I do like that's what you're saying. Like I do like the ambiguity. I like and the Master's like that too. I mean, he is not afraid of doing.
I just watched that this weekend.
Oh, really?
It's so good.
It is so
Joaquin
good.
Phoenix. Ugh.
But there's so much that happens, and it's like also not really like that much happens in the movie. It's ambiguous in that.
But
way.
a lot happens emotionally, you know?
Yeah, emotionally.
Yeah.
That's why the movies are supposed to be about the characters, not necessarily about the story. And I think that's where people get lost. Like, some people's criticism of this movie was like, oh, it's kind of like showy, and there's not a lot of narrative, or I don't know. It was like all over the place. Some people thought it was too liberal. Some people thought it was too conservative. Some people thought it wasn't standing enough for the points they wanted it to make. Other people thought it was making points that weren't even right at all. So sometimes when you try to stay like in the middle, it was accused of like both sidism, like it's trying to appeal to both sides.
Both sidism, yeah.
And not maybe those aren't wrong, but I still think like it's an interesting, good movie. And I'm glad that they like gave this movie $130 million to be made.
Why would you not like this film? Because this film is super, super divisive. Probably the most divisive film of the year, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I mean, I think more conservative people, I'm staring at the camera, would be more likely to look at this and write it off based off of the first 30 minutes.
Because of the immigration stuff.
Because the immigration stuff, and say, oh my God, they're already assigning what it's trying to do without actually like watching the movie and seeing that it is a little bit more nuanced than just saying like, you need to do this or that. And it's kind of just showing people standing for stuff, right? It's like showing you Benicio del Toro's perspective and being like, this is how he thinks about things and how he thinks you should do things. And showing you the French 75. Maybe it doesn't show like other consequences of why people might have more, why immigration is such a divisive issue. Clearly it is. But it's just showing you a perspective. I think you can engage with the perspective. That's what I've always thought about movies. Like, I might love a movie even if I don't like completely align with it politically. So if you're more conservative, I think you're going to say stuff that's just like not that interesting of criticism, which is that it's like too woke or too.
I think it's difficult because
but it doesn't feel like that to me compared to other stuff. Like, don't look up.
Yeah.
Regardless, if you're a more liberal person, you might like it, but I think you would still say it's like kind of corny.
Yeah.
Like, and if you're conservative, you'd obviously say it's woke. I hate that word.
Also, like, Leonardo DiCaprio, but this is what I'll say. Like, I see what you're saying, that like it clearly has like these maybe more liberal sided, less conservative sided ideas.
I think it lands more on a liberal side. I think that's fair.
It does, but it also makes the people who are on this team look dumb and regret their decisions and call it bad. The very liberals, quotation marks for the camera people, that are fighting for these causes in the film are considered also to be bad guys in some sense by the film. So that's the part that I'm a little confused by, where Paul Thomas Anderson isn't exactly clearly picking a side 100%. So I think that it's this movie is misread in some ways to say that it's just like, oh, it's just a propaganda film. There could definitely be some propaganda in here for immigration things. I don't know. I really didn't read it that way. It could exist. It could. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm just going to say it as that, so it's out there.
It doesn't feel like it's promoting those things. It feels like these are things that are happening, and these are the people doing them, but we're not putting on a pedestal necessarily. It's just informing.
They make the people who do it look like idiots. Yeah. And they make them look like they don't care about their kids. And like they make them look like they're deadbeat dads who just smoke weed all day. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And on the other side, you have the Christmas adventurers who also look like idiots because they're doing things that are
and
dumb.
they're also not seeing, like, it's maybe calling people to like say like, okay, if you there's consequences for having these like super black and white always stances that lead you to doing things that you probably didn't think you were going to end up doing. Maybe with the Christmas adventures, maybe they always knew what they were going to do. Like, this is more of a speculation of, and it plays into what I think both sides are skeptical of, which is that there's this idea that the elites, whoever they are, sometimes there's a debate on and ambiguity on who the elite people are have like kind of actually control what goes on in the country. The active part we as citizens have in decision making isn't really there. Like, it's all a mirage for what's actually happening. And I think that paranoia appeals to both sides. Was it set from a more liberal perspective? Yes, but you could easily have made it set from a conservative perspective, change a few points here and there. This movie could be a conservative one battle after another if you just took out immigration, made it into some other issue that was worth protesting for conservatives, and then make the Christmas Adventurers Club more like a liberal version of it, and boom, that they would be like, this is the best movie ever.
Yeah, and we're only speaking to like not necessarily the middle conservatives or the middle liberals, more to the extremes on both sides and their views, because again, I think it's a difficult one to even put a label of conservative or liberal on this film specifically. Of course, it does lean more liberal. That's not what the point of any of this is. That's why I get annoyed with these conversations. I think the point of the film is to show, like, yes, this film is set like 16, 15 years ago or whatever, but it's showing exactly what is happening today. And it's a lot of the immigration stuff, and it's a lot of the protests because of it. I mean, I'm pretty sure when this movie came out, there was a big national controversy with an ICE raid or something like that. Like,
yeah, and the interesting part is this movie was in production clearly before this has become as much of an issue. So PTA clearly had a beat on things that, and maybe it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what the issues that's going to be like the most controversial. But he, instead of adapting Vineland, he takes Pynchon's like sort of erratic, paranoid, fantastical writing and then turns it into something that's modern, which I think is why it works so well for me. When I was like, oh, it's Pynchon. At the end, I kind of forgot that it had any association with Vineland. I was like, oh, I can like this feels like less of a political statement and more like, what if Thomas Pynchon was writing something about today's times? Like that's kind of like PTA was like imagining that. And obviously, you get the PTA-isms. It's going to be way more loosely Pynchon's ideas, but Pynchon's a guy who's an absolute recluse. Anything you know about him is based on his writings. So you can't really say Pynchon believes this or that exactly unless you're making an argument based off of his books.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Kind of like Terrence Malick.
Yeah.
Right.
No interviews.
Like so, no interviews. It's all purely based on writing. Pynchon has these, sort of a lot of characters who you're not sure if you can believe them or not. They're roped into conspiracies. There's double meaning. It's difficult. It's difficult. It's ambiguous. It's postmodern.
Yeah.
He's a postmodernist, and I don't think we're kind of shifting away from postmodernism in a lot of ways. In terms of how we talk about art and politics, like people feel like if you're making a movie that is political, it should have an absolute thing that it's standing for.
Yeah.
It's not. I even saw criticism of this saying like, it's not making a point. It's not making a statement. It's not like, but I'm like, it doesn't need to. It's not like that's not the point. You're wrestling with these ideas with these characters. Mm-hmm. You're wrestling with like, this is going on in our country. How do I think about this? And these characters are thinking that too, and they're not sure.
Yeah.
And they're not making always the right or best decisions in regards.
No, everybody's making pretty much wrong decisions in this film. There isn't really a true hero. Maybe Willa comes out as a true hero, but she kind of follows in her dad's footsteps a little bit. It's
almost because she's so protected, and this is basically all she can do. But yeah, you're right. She still does end up being.
Well, she has that fire in her that Teyana Taylor's character had.
But maybe like more measured, like Bob.
Yeah.
So it's like supposed to be the more. And like if she's going to like a protest at the end of the movie, not necessarily going to like blow up a bank or something.
Yeah, so maybe she's a good balance and like maybe hope for the future. A protester who isn't as violent as her mom, but I guess I can't say not as non-violent as her dad because her dad was literally the bomb specialist. So
yeah, it's not like we're giving him a pass.
Yeah,
but like he definitely was very involved in this.
Yeah, yeah. Tress, did you like this?
Yeah, I think as it's been, like 10 days since we watched it, I've thought about it more and more, and doing research for this and for the questions and everything. I think I've come to like it a little bit more. When I first rated it, it was the highest 3.5 to the lowest 4 in my mind. But now I think it's a solid 4.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't have this as my lowest 4.
Yeah.
Out of all my 4s.
My guess is you would like Paul Thomas Anderson's other films much better.
I think I will like There Will Be Blood when we watch that. I think that'll be my favorite, just because I feel like we have similar tastes when it comes to those types.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Better get 5 stars, or all of our friendships end. If you don't give it 5 stars, I end my friendship with Ben. You don't care to die, but do you care if he dies?
That is very Paul Thomas Anderson-y.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there's any chances of Oscars coming from this movie?
I do.
Yes,
it has an Oppenheimer type feel.
And why do you think it's Sergio?
Oh. I do think Benicio del Toro is an underrated supporting actor candidate, but I think it's more likely to go to Sean Penn. Even though Sean Penn, if you're looking at Oscar politics, has actually already won Best Actor maybe twice. He's a guy. He hasn't done a lot in the last decade.
Yeah.
And I was listening to The Big Picture talk about this about him. But man, his performance in Mystic River, which he won Best Actor for, was so good. And that movie was not like, in some ways, is a movie where you're like, it shouldn't be as good as it is. But because of like the acting performances, it feels like really good. And then for Milk, he won Best, which that's a weird one for him to have won Best Picture. But people just because. And I think it shows how the Oscar lands. I don't know that a movie like Mystic River would be like a movie with Oscar buzz nowadays, but back then it was. I guess people have said like he can like really disappear into his characters, and I think he saw that with Stephen Lockjaw. Like, I had to lean over to Zach and be like, "Wait, is this Sean Penn?" like I was actually not sure, and he has kind of aged. Like he has like a rougher looking face than he did earlier.
Yeah,
but he really like encapsulated this character. Now Benicio del Toro is just so charming in this movie. Like I always love. He's just like. Anytime he shows up, he's just such a joyful presence.
People call him a street level superhero in this movie. Like they act like just because he has this whole intricate system of protecting people and knowing where to go and staying calm, and he's like this universe's Batman.
He is. I want to be like him. No, he is very, very much like that. He kind of reminds me of his other character, the Collector, in this. Not in how eccentric he is. But in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have the Collector. Just I don't know. I just saw a lot of the same personality, but it's a lot different, and it's probably just the Del Toro-isms coming out. Anyway, that was a random.
He's kind of like I was looking through like the movies he's been in, and I was like, this is a guy that like I feel like doesn't get talked about as much as like a Pedro Pascal or like, but I'm like he really is like has put together like a impressive. Like group of movies like Sicario.
The Phoenician Scheme.
He was in the Phoenician Scheme this year, which I didn't like, but I didn't like it. I did not like it because of his performance.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was Wes Anderson's best, but he's perfect because he's like just like so charming. Like that's the best
the new
thing.
Star Wars. He was in Inherent Vice, obviously Marvel. So yeah, he's in a lot. Sicario. He's in both Sicarios. Yeah.
And he's really good in Sicario.
Yeah. I think, Benicio del Toro, definitely an underrated actor, 100%. So this is not the best PTA movie to close this part out. Like, I don't think it's even close to the levels of There Will Be Blood for two things. Concisiveness. Is that how you say it? Concisiveness? Conciseness in story. If it were concisiveness, that wouldn't be as concise. So conciseness in story and performances, which story and performances in this film were good. Were great even. But just like, I don't know. It's like you kind of curse yourself when you do so well as Paul Thomas Anderson at the beginning of your career,
Yeah.
And when you have so much amazing success early on, you really doom the end of your career to be compared to the earlier parts. So what do we think about Chase Infinity? This is her debut.
I think she has a lot of potential to be, a starring actor. I'm sure she'll get lots more roles after this. I think she basically had like an Apple TV role, right?
With Jake Gyllenhaal.
With Jake Gyllenhaal, and then this, and that's a great start to your career. So,
how do you get both those right off the bat?
I don't know.
Nepotism.
Paul Thomas, maybe.
I don't know.
Paul Thomas Anderson does have a knack for finding like the most random people to like play parts, but maybe not for his starring roles so much. I think I don't know that her performance was like, it definitely wasn't the best of any of these performances, but it's not really fair because she's like asked to like be basically on screen with Leonardo DiCaprio the whole time, and she holds her own. She definitely is like, you don't feel like she's like a weak part of the movie at all. So and the sequences at the end, which are some of the most memorable ones in the movie, I think she does a great job in. She shows fear, but also like, because she is in situations where she's afraid, like she is at risk, and you do feel that. Like you don't feel like she thinks she's too strong to be in those situations, but you still feel like she has courage still. Yeah. So I think that's not always the easiest thing to portray.
Yeah, that's the thing. I always get mad when they put male or female characters in the roles where it's like, I have no fear. Courage is actually when you're extremely, extremely scared and you keep going forward, Yeah.
I think you could see the turn with her when she kept the phone, and she's kind of like, oh, this was my dad when he was young. This is a big situation happening, but it's not like the end of the world. And then she realizes how big of a deal it is when she just takes her phone, throws out the window, and is like, this is real.
There are other people. We're getting tracked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a freaky situation to be in. I would be happy to leave prom. I'm not a big prom guy. But still,
Probably not the best fashion to be leaving.
No.
Did you like the Mo Bamba?
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious just because it's like that would be the song that like
a school plays.
A Gen X. Well, like just a Gen X director would pick for a school play to. I'm sure that it does get played at school.
Or someone who's a little bit out of touch.
And they also had the Walk the Moon song.
Yep.
Shut Up and Dance, which at this point is like I'm not sure that
I said they were
likely to be as played.
They were catering to all types of teens at this dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was I would be happy to leave that, to be honest. That looked kind of lame. Car chase scene. That I really love that scene.
Yeah,
I got to start out with that.
It's maybe one of the best parts of the movie is that car chase.
Yeah, it's like up and down and up and down, the perspective of looking through the hills and
the car getting closer and not being able to see it. And then her ultimate move to stop the car at the moment where he can't see that she had stopped the car and he comes up the hill and hit. I mean, you didn't realize exactly that's what was happening until it happened.
I did.
Well, I'm just not
clearly
that smart.
what she was doing.
I'm not that smart. I was did he disappear? What happened?
No one ever closes their door in this movie either when they are speeding away.
Yeah, they let the car close it when they drive off. I noticed that when Leo did it.
Yeah, and the music during the scene was really good. The music throughout the whole movie, what did you guys think of it?
I loved it.
It was great.
Johnny Greenwood of Radiohead.
Yeah, he knows much more than me.
Also, which I mentioned OK Computer, so I could call back to Radiohead at this point in the show. He did the There Will Be Blood soundtrack. He always has this very like percussive like kind of like, and I think the music works really well because it builds that like paranoid feeling throughout the movie.
I heard that this could be not true, but I heard that every single time they did piano, it was one key off at one point throughout every section of it, just to induce anxiety.
Yeah.
Well, it worked.
Yeah. Speaking of not anxiety, but just the movie, Lockjaw at the end.
Can't you do that at any point in this podcast? Speaking of the movie,
just excellent transition. He wears lifts and tight shirts, and he is called gay by her, but he's very adamant he's not. Just thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I know he plays a gay character. Sean Penn plays a gay character in Milk, and that's what he won his Academy Award for. I'm wondering if that's any allusion to that.
Could be, but I also just think that Lockjaw, he may not be gay, but he definitely has some like really weird sexual stuff going on. And I mean, they kind of get into it with like, it seems like he has this like fetish. There's like this commentary on like fetishization of women of other races, and that's his perspective. And she kind of like has this weird like, she likes that she can turn it on him or somehow use it to control him.
That's the only the scene in the grocery store when he's like, I love black women. That's the only scene where him and Leonardo DiCaprio interact. The only other time they're even near each other is when he's walking him away after when he arrests him at the beginning.
That's a good point.
That's the only time they talk.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, there's definitely some messed up stuff going on in his head.
Yeah, it's deeper than just any of that, which I just said, which already sounds really like weird and like messy. And it's kind of like playing into this like thing that has happened where I think people feel as though they can explore any sort of like weird thing now that the internet exists, but they also have to like pretend they still fit in with society after and like still like pretend they don't do these things at all. Especially when it comes to joining a group as quote unquote that ascribes to these like really pure, as messed up as that sounds, ideas as the Christmas adventurers, who we can under the surface imagine that they're not as pure as they say they are, but they definitely like need to be pure on the surface or use it as a method of controlling people. They're pure, of course, being their definition of purity. Yeah, and then he says at the end of the movie he was reversed raped by a semen demon, or someone describes that
to like hide the fact that he's attracted to
Teyana Taylor's character, and had like
I can't remember her name in the movie.
Purposeful relations with her.
Yeah. I can never.
It's definitely
Beverly
interesting
Hills.
how like this type of thing can now be like in a mainstream movie, like as taboo and like I don't know, like and it's kind of just like wow, okay, and then you move on to the next part of the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, like because like back in the day, like in the 70s, these like any ideas like this would have had to have been in some sort of like grindhouse, like kind of like under the surface type of movie, not necessarily a mainstream one. And they've kind of, I don't know, but Paul Thomas Anderson is clearly influenced by those types of things as well.
And it's, to be honest, a lot of these ideas are at the forefront of our culture right now.
Right.
So
And so any movie that's like not willing to address them, then you're like all these criticisms about the movie not having a point. It's like, okay, but you'd rather a movie that's just like a biopic that we've seen like a bazillion times that addresses all the same plot points that we're used to seeing. Like instead you get something that actually is willing to engage with things that most other movies don't.
Yeah. What is this theory?
So there's a theory that I read on called the Bob is useless theory, and it just Bob/Pat. It just basically goes through everything that happens in the movie, and it says he does nothing. Like he's just being carried around to one battle after another.
It's like the Indiana Jones theory where he's useless for the whole movie.
Yeah.
That's what O'Shea was
I
telling
don't
me.
even know whether this is like a theory, as I think people are just identifying like that what actually happens in the movie, and I think you're right. I think
people who watch movies don't know what the difference between a theory and a law is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were like, oh wow, yeah, this is the movie. Yep.
Yeah.
Bob doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't do that much. He's terrible in intense situations. He becomes a deadbeat. Yeah, and you're right. I guess even in the revolutionary scenes at the beginning, he didn't actually even do that much in those, despite being the Rocket Man or supposed to be like. But
just set off some fireworks.
yeah.
And also
Viva la revolution!
when he's shooting at Lockjaw, the whole scene sets it up as like, oh my goodness, he's gonna be excellent. He's gonna snipe him.
Yeah.
Like he sets it up, everything. He has the perfect position, and then you see the bullet hit like 10 feet to his left in the ground.
Yep.
And Lockjaw just keeps walking. He
Yep.
doesn't even run. He just does his little waddle, like he has something up his butt,
Yeah.
into the car,
Yeah.
and drives away. No worries. Where you think he's gonna be some excellent shooter,
Yeah,
he
he's
has
not.
no experience and he's not good at that. As well as he doesn't actually do anything until he just drives up, and it's Willa who's already done the work and escaped.
That's true. She already defeated the guy, the Christmas
Yeah.
adventurer. So
He's always late.
yeah, and maybe that's kind of it. Like you think you're a part of something, but you're not. Things just happen in this world. It's not really a revolution. It's just a downfall of society.
Yeah.
You think you're destroying society that's built like this, but really it's just collapsing.
And I've only seen 2 Paul Thomas Anderson movies, this and Punch Drunk Love, but I've heard that it's a thing for them to have like a cocaine dad, or this is like kind of like an everything dad, like weed, drugs, like all of it. Is that a thing with Paul Thomas Anderson?
The drug abuse is in a lot of his movies, and even like Punch Drunk Love, it has like a very erratic main character who's like incapable of making decisions in stressful situations.
Yeah, that is definitely true. In Punch
Okay.
Drunk Love, because that's the one that I have
He's
seen,
dying.
which I did like a lot too. But I believe I also did that one for. So these are about the same for me. I know you liked Punch Drunk Love a lot more.
Yeah, but Punch Drunk Love has been a movie that like has built up more meaning for me over time. Like the first time I watched it, I don't think I was like, this is a 5-star movie.
Yeah.
But my expectations and what I scale how I think about movies has definitely changed over time.
Yeah.
So, like, do I think a movie like Magnolia is more expansive and impressive from that regard than Punch Drunk Love? Yes, but I like Punch Drunk Love and its execution more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What are some lows of this movie? What are things you didn't like?
I thought it was slow in some parts.
it's the pacing, I think, like you said, it's very long, and maybe it doesn't quite earn how long its runtime is.
Whenever the Sean Penn parts came up, I was actually more excited for the film. Like it was like, oh, cool, the Sean Penn storyline. It's very interesting. He's kind of a crazy dude, crazy weird things going on in his head, trying to like suck up to these Christmas adventures. Ooh, that's interesting. Let me learn more about that. It's all sick and twisted, but it's interesting. Whereas I would say Leonardo DiCaprio's storyline dragged at some parts.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember what
someone
specific
said.
parts.
I've seen people say that Sean Penn's performance is like the best villain performance since Hans Landa with Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards. Do you think there's any merit to that?
No, not yet. No, give it time.
I also think like they're different characters. Like Hans Landa is much more
Intentional.
intentional than Lockjaw is.
Yeah. You're
Do you have any
dying
other
over
lows?
there.
Or is that pacing the big
Definitely the school dance.
The school dance
with
is the-
Mobamba.
I think there's some of the Gen Z to Gen X humor is a little. It's hard to tell whether it's funny or just you're laughing because it's like corny and like. But it feels real because it feels like that's how Gen X Paul Thomas Anderson would interact with his kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do have a question. Mo Bamba came out in 2018. When is this movie supposed to be set?
It's supposed to be set now, but
Okay.
it's like would they still play Mo Bamba at a dance?
I thought it was 16
Theoretically.
years ago.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it
what
wa-
I thought.
It was set. So 16 years is the beginning of the film. So
Oh,
the Revolutionary
That's
Starts
right,
in
that's
2008,
right. I
2009, and then it fast forwards to now.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little
Interesting.
confusing because of that.
Interesting.
What was your guys' each of your favorite scenes in the movie?
Favorite scene was either the car chase scene or, to be honest, like there were some menacing scenes with Sean Penn when it came to Infinity's scenes with him, like learning that she's the daughter. And
You like the very end of Sean Penn's.
Yes. Yeah, I love that last scene as well. Where he's like, the car chase scene with him was really good, and then he obviously dies, and then not really, and then he comes back. That last scene where it's like the gas chamber basically in the office, I thought that was a really good
And
scene.
he just falls asleep thinking he succeeded everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To be honest, it's kind of like a nicer way to die than he would have died before.
probably. Getting shot in the face, I'd take the
But having to survive getting shot in the face and then dying still would be very frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
What
you
about
think you made it. That's the thing. Like, there's.
He had his feet on the desk.
Yeah.
That just meant something to him. That he had an office.
Yeah.
He died a Christmas
It re-
adventure.
It
Yep.
really. He was like, oh my.
But he's the worst guy ever. He tried to kill his daughter. I mean, he's the worst guy ever.
Yeah.
He literally would sacrifice everything for this. I think the car chase sequence in totality is my favorite, and then I did like the scene where Leo and Benicio del Toro are like escaping.
That was a wonderful sequence.
He knows how to drunk drive.
And then Leo like falls off the roof, which again shows he can't even like escape with
Yeah.
the plan.
Yeah.
Good. He like loses his gun. Falls 40 feet. Only gets saved. It gets arrested. A nurse has to help him get out. Go nurses. So yeah.
One of the last things, symbolism in this movie is obviously in any movie is pretty strong. The big thing that I saw that I didn't put on here was what Zach just mentioned, where Lockjaw sacrifices everything just to get the corner office. It's sort of like a capitalistic narrative on that.
Yeah.
Where it's saying like, people will do anything for
Oh, yeah.
what they deem as important, and it really just looks stupid.
And that's true. That's like the most sinful part of capitalism is the sacrificing the good things for the
And
selfish things.
And you hear about this a lot. Like people just like career is like super important. This is just like a really like messed up, weird,
Way to say
specific
it.
like career that most people would be like, nah, I wouldn't do that. But like if you look at
Yeah.
your life and you're like, what do I think about? A lot of times people do end up valuing career above their family, even if they're saying to themselves, I'm doing this for my family.
Yeah, because even Ms. Beverly Hills puts everything.
A Rick and Morty thing.
Everything.
When Rick, I'm so sorry. When he says, I squanched my family, and they're like, oh, what? Do you remember that? Have you seen Rick and Morty?
No, I have not.
I'm sorry, Tressel.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead.
That's funny.
That was the funniest thing I thought of today.
But yeah, Ms. Beverly Hills just walks out on her family and gives up everything for selfish desires, same as Lockjaw. So both sides.
Did you just think of that?
Yeah.
Dude, he's good. He's
So
good.
both sides, show giving up on everything, and both directly are giving up on the daughter. One killing her, one walking out on her for selfish ambition.
Because they're both her parent. Like, the only parent that has really loved her is not her parent.
Which is hilarious too, because he's like he seems like the
Buried
least
in
successful, most burnout, and we're not even like glorifying his lifestyle, but in some ways his, like, I go out and talk to my friends. While I may have substance abuse issues as a result of that, like, is somewhat more meaningful than what these people are doing that's for their careers.
Yeah, I mean, one's a colonel. Like, that's
Yeah. But it is interesting because you're right. Like, one is a revolutionary against the government in one direction and says this is the right thing to do. The other one is doing his own selfish things on the other side. And it seems like one is the right answer. The revolutionary is fighting for the good, but both of them leave the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, is one really better than the other? And that could be the conservative outlook on this film. But then not that conservative, because then if you go too far conservative, then you're like, well, the Christmas adventurers are the suckiest people on earth.
The
And
modern
Lockjaw
KKK.
sucks. Yeah, modern KKK. The modern, white nationalist society or
Yeah.
whatever. To be quite honest, I think that's pretty poignant in there. But that's a really good observation, Tressel, because I think it's like you can go too far on both sides and forget what's really important and fight for bigger things when, in fact, the biggest things can be right in front of you.
Yeah,
Mm.
because how do you really start a revolution? With your family. I'm not even saying that just like,
No, you start
No,
from the
man
ground
in the
up.
mirror.
you start
Train
with,
your kids.
train your kids in the way that and then they'll contribute to society, and they'll have families, and they'll train their kids, and
Yeah.
it's almost the thing that you realize is selfish is maybe that you want to see all the change happen in your life to benefit you, but that's not really what we're supposed to or called to. Like, we're not doing this because it will necessarily be a direct benefit to us individually. That's what Perfidia wants, right?
Mhm.
She wants it to be a benefit to her.
You just protect your kids, protect your wife. What was the phrase?
Hide your kid, hide your wife.
Yeah. What is that from?
I don't even know.
It sounds like a Trailer Park Boys type of
Yeah.
quote.
But before we wrap up, do you guys... Some people, obviously, there's not going to be a direct sequel to this because we know Leonardo doesn't do sequels.
One battle after the next battle after another.
Could you guys see one being in the same universe following the mom story?
No.
No?
I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson would ever do that. You're
Yeah.
saying by another director, though?
Anyway, anything in the same universe.
No.
It could be time period of the mom 16 years ago when she escaped.
I think he'll do something completely different after this.
Yeah.
I hope he's not done after 10. He's never said that, though, so I doubt.
This was his 10th?
Yeah. I feel like he loves making movies. There may be 4 or 5 years till we get another Paul Thomas Anderson movie, but
Yeah, 2030. Guys, we'll be old. We will
But,
be old. How old is PTA?
he started very young, but he's definitely like in his... He is 55.
Okay, he's still got some juice.
He's still got a lot.
Push out 4 more movies before he dies.
He could get at least 4 more.
Yeah.
If he has a Scorsese-like career, he could get more than that.
Yeah, he could probably get 7 if he goes for Scorsese lengths.
At least 6 or 7.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah. That's everything on the movie.
I hope that people will look a little bit more fondly on this film moving forward. I just give it some time to breathe. Honestly, once maybe 5 years from now, our political climate is hopefully a lot better and different and less calamitous. We can look back at this with a little bit less either biased or infuriated lens and think on it like, oh, this movie is about a lot of different things, not just propaganda.
Yeah, not just latch on to the things that
Yes.
that are the most controversial.
Don't look at it purely as
And
a
we're not. I'm
political
not just
picture.
saying that because we're recording it right now, and I don't want to feel guilty for recording it. I genuinely think this film is about so many different things, and I think your astute observation at the end, Tress, was like, in both directions, you can go so far and forget what's important, and that's probably the most poignant part of the film. To be quite honest, I'm glad we got that in there before we finished recording. So, Point A Insurance is the coolest battle after another.
That's what I think. The biggest battle you will have to face in your life is getting a good rate on insurance. And trust me, it can be a battle.
Yeah,
And it can feel like you're going through one battle after another because it's not just your car insurance. Then you got your home insurance, and then you're, oh my goodness, I want to start a business. Now I got more insurance to deal with. So we want to be your one-stop shop for any insurance you have to deal with, other than health insurance, which we can refer out to other businesses that we know. So call us at 614-486-7300 or email me at bstanhope@pointains.com. And we'd love to get you started with a quote and talk to you, see where your insurance was and where we can get it to. So that's Point A Insurance. Your success,
our mission. Isn't that great? That it's not our success is our mission. It's your success is our mission. It's not our success, your mission.
Which we probably have said at some point on the show.
It's your success, our mission. So he, Ben, will serve you.
Yeah.
Gladly.
And the movie vault in general.
And yes, Ben is also still a nurse because he said go nurses. So just let that sink in. So my biggest takeaway from this film is I hope Sean Penn makes at least 3 more films before he dies.
Do you think he's going to die soon? Do you think he doesn't look that healthy? Okay. Well, not to do that.
That's the worst question to ask. Do I think he's going to die? I hope not.
Hopefully he makes a few more like high. I think he's done a lot more independent movies, and that's great. But maybe a few more like high ticket, not Marvel.
I was gonna say,
but productions that are like this, which I know movies like this don't come around all that often.
They could do Old Man. It's like a superhero, Old Man.
Old Man.
His powers are just being old.
Yeah, that'd be funny. We could do. I mean, I've thought about this watching these shark movies, which we're about to do movie highlights. Like, if some of these movies that have been produced, I'm like, my standard for what it would take to make a movie has lowered quite a bit.
Yeah, we could. I mean, I've made a movie better than half these shark films.
So,
and I have the second script ready. I'm very excited. Both of you are in it.
Oh, I'm so excited.
All right. So are we doing movie highlights now, or will that be next?
Let's do it now.
Do it now.
You guys go first.
All right. So I watched another William Powell movie called The Key. Pretty good. I said William Powell's quickly becoming one of my favorite actors. I'm not kidding about that. He's so funny. He's so charming. Several movies in the 30s and 40s for William Powell. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse we rewatched. Very, very good. Still hit me just as hard this time. It's been several years since I watched it. So
this was an O'Shea showing.
Big Bold Beautiful Journey. Meh.
Not as bad as people said.
You're right. Not as bad as people are saying. There were some tone things that worked better for me than for other people. We'll watch One Battle After Another. We've talked about that, obviously. It's Smashing Machine. Good performance from The Rock. I don't think it's the movie that some people expected. It's not. It's more melodramatic than most wrestling movies. But
I liked it.
I
watched it last night. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it's good.
I thought the style with the music, like the jazz music throughout all the fights and stuff, it brought a different vibe to fights.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of the criticism has been a little unmerited. Or the criticism that never works for me is, there's not really like a story. It was like based, like, let the movie be what it is. Let's not compare it to Rocky or, Anyway.
Then
I watched Sharknado, one of the tentpole shark movies.
What'd you think?
It's definitely the best one I've seen of the shark movies, other than Jaws, of course. Production value is much higher than some of these other ones, which is saying something for how bad the production value is of the other ones, because it wasn't like this had great production value.
And don't forget what comes at the end of the month. At all these movies will be your more in-depth review of them all.
Yeah, we're gonna do Sharktoberfest.
Sharktoberfest. And then Avalanche Sharks was 1 star.
That sounds so stupid.
The sharks are just floating. They're just fins in the ice on the hills. It's so stupid. Then I watched The Dog's Life, which is a Charlie Chaplin movie. Good. Carnival of Souls, doing a classic movie review on it. Classic horror, surreal movies. 4.5 out of 5.
That's crazy.
So good.
That's crazy.
Definitely a
What
good
year
cult
is that?
classic. 1962. Then I watched The Blob, 1958 horror movie. It's campy. It's on the nose. That's what I was saying. Carnival of Souls is so unique because it's not like that. Like all these horror movies from the 50s and 60s are like, it's called The Blob and there's a blob and it's attacking people. Like there's no like, and no, people don't believe it's there and then it is. Halloween Town, it was okay. Scream 3, decent. I mean, Scream keeps going with their meta on meta stuff. They're now filming a movie about the thing that happened in the actual movies. It's just like layers of irony, which I kind of appreciate. Sharkenstein. I don't even. What even happened in this movie? I don't even know. It was so bad. It was a shark that was like multiple things stitched together, and there was a Nazi mad scientist. And it was supposed to be like an ocean, but it was clearly filmed at a lake. Dementia is a 1955 surreal horror movie. Very unique. Very like Lynch obviously probably watched something like this because it's right up his alley. 1935's The Raven, which is not based on the Edgar Allan Poe poem, but it references Edgar Allan Poe. This is okay. Boris Karloff's in it.
And the magnum opus of this month's watch.
Nano Shark. So bad. Like, I didn't think it could get worse than I don't think it can get worse than Nano Shark.
Oh, man.
And I can't talk.
I read it like the shark goes into a bloodstream.
Yeah, and the shark gets peed out. And people kept commenting, like, I didn't realize, like, I didn't even know what the term M-preg meant, but it's saying, like, the end scene where he, like, pees the shark out kind of looks like the man is giving birth. So, like, this is really weird. It's bizarre. Because that's how the shark and the submarine get out. Anything else that happened other than that, I didn't really understand what was going on.
It's a high intellect film.
But this guy who directed it, his name's Brett Kelly. He does a lot. He's done Jurassic Shark, Raiders of the Lost Shark, Puppet Shark.
He's found his niche.
A Metal Shark. So many of these like stupid Ouija Shark. Yeah,
Lots
so
of
many
shark
of these.
ones. Okay.
So he's kind of up there.
Tress, what do you got?
Yeah, I got Shark Side of the Moon. Zach and I watched that together.
Yep.
That was very interesting.
It's good.
Russian drama. Tiffany the Doll, we watched as well. And then The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah.
Which, I loved Buster so much that I was sad that the rest of it wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like some of the other stories. It felt kind of like a few different like Black Mirror type episodes set in, a Western theme.
What's the meme? This your first time? Or where he has the noose around his
Oh,
neck?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it looks over.
Popular.
Is this your first time? Yeah.
And then I also saw Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. Sid wanted to watch that one because she wanted to see Padme and him. So I picked the worst one for that.
Interesting. She wanted to see Padme.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't know she's a Padme girl.
Yes,
Nice.
she loves her.
Okay.
But yeah, it was good. I always like Revenge of the Sith, and it was a lot more. I haven't watched it in years. It was a lot more like political. I know that's what Star Wars is, but it was a lot of politics.
Yeah.
Way less. I thought there was way more fighting in it, but like there's like 3 fighting scenes. They're each like under 3 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, it always gets me every time I watch it. I hope Anakin doesn't fall, but he does. But that's all. That's all for me.
Maybe this time. Sharks. Go ahead.
Wait, what about bad CGI gators?
Oh yes, bad CGI gator. Zach and I watched that one. We didn't pay much attention to it, and we like. Do you remember? It's the alligator. The pond gets like struck by lightning, and then
Did I watch the whole thing?
It eats them all. Neither of us really paid attention to the whole thing.
Okay.
Barely counts, but it was also dumb. But it also
See, I
it
don't
knows
even
it's
remember.
dumb.
I don't even remember. That's because I've watched so many of these. You'll see.
But yeah, it knows it's dumb, so it's enjoyable because it doesn't try too hard because it's literally called Bad CGI Gator. There's also a Bad CGI Shark. I think it's by the same guy.
Huh.
So just for October.
That's fun. Yeah, I watched Shark Side of the Moon, Dead of Winter. I think I talked about it a little bit in the new movies review, so that was great. My Neighbor Totoro, watched that with... Did you put that on yours? We watched that with your wife.
Oh.
I introduced it, so you got to add that to yours. Tiffany the Doll, man, what a ride. Tiffany the Doll was, man, oh, crazy film. The Fountain, that's Aronofsky's third film, I believe, or fourth film. Yeah, third film.
Mm-hmm.
And Ballad of Buster Scruggs was a great, fun film. I agree. I wish that we had more Buster Scruggs. Sharkensaw Women's Prison Massacre. Quite a ride as well. Big Bold Beautiful Journey with Ben. One Battle After Another with both of you guys. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I watched this on TV. It was a television film. I thought, let me enjoy these before they go away forever, you know? Daniel Isn't Real. Also, I think a television film that I watched this past weekend. It's actually a quite cool movie. It's a horror movie about this guy who has an imaginary friend who kind of like gains a little bit of control over him.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's just weird. I think it's Patrick Schwarzenegger, so it's Arnold's son is the imaginary friend. I watched Five-Headed Shark Attack. Did I give that 3.5 stars? I did not.
2.5.
2.5. Okay, I didn't mean to. I didn't think it was horrible. I think I'm gonna give it 2 stars because I don't know if I meant to give it 2.5.
There's like 2-headed shark attack, 3-headed shark attack, 4-headed shark attack.
Yeah, I thought about going through them, but I was like, do I really want to?
You don't want to do that.
Put yourself
You're
through
right.
that.
Yeah.
You might as well go with the biggest, the most heads.
Well, I'm going through one right now. It's interesting. We'll see if I finish it, but it's only an hour, and I think shark movies should be an hour or less.
That's why I if I'm picking one and I see one's an hour and a half and one's an hour and 5 minutes, I'm picking the one that's an hour and 5 minutes.
Same.
I mean, Nano Shark was a chore to get through, and it was an hour and 10 minutes.
I think Sharkensaw Women's Prison Massacre is close to 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh yeah, this is getting long.
Save it for the Sharktober.
Sure,
Fest.
will do. And then the Smashing Machine. I really enjoyed it last night. The Rock can handle some acting.
He can. I always knew he could.
Yeah, I didn't.
I'd be curious to see him do something that's not wrestling related, but
That's a good point.
That is his field where he came from, so he probably.
he's so big. That's what they do a good job of showing you. Like, he's so massive of a person that it would be hard for him to be in a dramatic role and be like, oh yeah, this is just a guy.
They got to do a live action Incredibles remake.
That would be cool.
I agree.
Or would they have John Cena play Mr. Incredible?
Well, he's trying to move up the list.
Yeah, that's true.
With Peacemaker, John Cena's established himself more.
Yeah, for sure. Well, with that, we can close the vault, right, boys?
Yep.
All right.
Sorry for the cold.
Squatch my family.